Greetings, Earthlings.
We are Johnita Francis and Trish Rock, empowerment influencers.
No fluff conversations about life, empowerment, spirituality, and freedom.
Thank you for joining us for today's show, sponsored by Holistic Bliss. Well, here we are again.
How exciting!
This is week 5. It's just going so fast.
5. What's the 5 number? It's about change and growth and
It is expression.
exciting. Yeah.
Expression,
I think my
yeah.
hair's expressing itself today. If you're listening to the podcast, you have missed out on 80s rocker hair. So you can
Yes.
thank your lucky stars for that.
And if you are listening on past podcast, thank you so much for all the downloads. We're really excited that it's taken off so far on the podcasts platforms, but also on our live platform too. So just thank you to everybody. We're very grateful.
We are indeed. Keep it off the streets and out of mischief.
Yeah, and give us a review if you're on the podcast, please.
Definitely. Let us know you're there.
Yeah.
All right. So this week we're bringing out the wheel again. However, it's a wheel with a twist.
It's a wheel with a twist. Drum roll. Let's bring it up into the screen.
Ta-da!
Where is it? There it is. Okay, it is up on the screen. What will it be this week?
I'm going to tap into my psychic ability here, and
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a viewer's questions.
Oh, okay.
Want to bet me a chicken schnitty with mushroom gravy on that?
Sure.
Go. Here we go. Now you know I'm a psychic medium, right?
Yeah.
Oh, she's got it.
She's got it. Winner, chicken dinner.
Absolutely.
Oh, gosh. All right. So tonight we are taking viewer questions. And so for everybody joining us in our live audience on our Facebook page while we are recording this, welcome. And we want to know what you want to know.
Absolutely. What's out there? What those questions that you've always wanted to ask? Now, you can remain anonymous, but, we'd love it if you let us say your name so it could be interactive. But, what are those questions that you want to know? It could be about anything at all relating to, mindset and growth or, Trish and I were talking just before we popped on about how we change and how some areas of our lives are really easy to change and others we dig our heels in and we go kicking and screaming. And it was actually a really cool topic to touch on, Trish, because we both identified areas that we're like, that's a walk in the park for us. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, but there's other areas of my life where I've just tried to avoid change or not really sure how to go about it. So, what's an area that you've struggled to change?
It's over the years, my struggle to change was my struggle with finances and with my lack mindset. And I thought that because I had no issue being successful in my business, creating things, trying things, learning things, especially technology. I just get in there and I push all the buttons and learn how to do something, whereas some people actually have a fear of that. But it was just really interesting to me that I had no fear at all at doing all of those things. And yet that one thing that I was really scared to change actually affected all of that other stuff. And it's an area that perhaps is totally flipped for someone else. Perhaps that's the area where, they really like to explore and change things up, and yet relationships might be an area that's difficult for them to change, or health. So I just feel everybody's got one or two areas where that fear of the unknown holds them stuck, and other areas where they have no fear at all. And it's all those different beliefs we've got, and each of us have had different beliefs installed from childhood about different things in life. So and all of our adulthood, I guess, our experiences. So
absolutely. While you were talking about that, I was thinking, okay, what's a big area that I've struggled to change? And I think my view on, because for a long time I'm very much what can I do to solve problems? I'm a solutions expert. So if I'm employed by somebody, I will do the work of 4 or 5 people. And it's all right when you have someone that recognizes what you're doing. But I struggled for a long time to either pull myself back and only do the job that I was actually getting paid to do, or alternatively asking for additional money or asking to be valued for what I brought to the table. And I really, really struggled with that right up until very recently when I just thought,
Mm.
I'm burnt out. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I'm being appreciated. I don't feel like I'm being valued. And it was my anger at those feelings that were brewing up inside of me that actually gave me the balls to say, that's enough, I'm not doing this anymore. And
Mm.
and for me, that was the hardest thing for me to change, is my mindset. I work really well when I work for myself and for someone else.
Yeah.
I struggle a little bit when I've worked in my mediumship business solely, because um, I think it's because I've placed so much value on a muggle's job, on a commercial job, and I just get in that mindset where I just don't feel like I don't feel like I will be contributing enough if I just do my mediumship business. I need to be
Yeah.
fixing problems all the time. I don't have a downtime. So when I work for myself in my mediumship business and only do that, I find that I have this downtime, and I feel like because I've got that downtime and I'm not doing the job of 5 people, I'm not contributing enough, and I really
Mm.
struggle with that. It's a
So it's
real
all
struggle.
about value, isn't it then?
Yeah, big
Every fear
time.
of change is about value, whether you feel valuable enough to do that or you don't.
Yeah.
is well, that's really interesting. So yeah, so that a person's level of value in that area of their life will determine whether they will charge forward with change or whether they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting. So let's have a look who's here. Hey, Jess. Hey, Janelle. We're going to say hello to you all tonight because we're going to be interactive and talking with you. Hey,
Yeah.
Sarah. Janine, hi. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Nikki. Kirsty, hey. Hey, Alison. All right, Cherie. Progress wading through my river of shit. I'm trying any messages. We're not actually giving messages, Marie, but we are answering questions. So, not Marie, Cherie. So, guys, do you have any questions for us? Is there anything that you would really love to know about empowerment, change, spirituality, psychic, tarot, mediumship?
One of our
And
favorite topics.
other planets, spirit, anything at all. Hit us with it.
Get it.
Yeah.
A lucky
So
door prize for the person that can shut us both up. The
stump
challenge has gone out there.
stump us with one of your questions. So while we're waiting for some questions, yeah, well, that's actually a really good revelation there. That
I wonder if there's a lot more, if there's underlying issues to change, is that sense of value. Because
yeah,
value is not like a monetary thing or
no,
it can be, it's like an umbrella term. So it really can be the value of how beautiful you look or how you feel. Like someone said a long time ago to me that when she got dressed up and put makeup on and wore high heels, she felt more empowered and she felt more confident. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like pulling my
mm,
undies out and fixing my toes are killing me and I don't feel comfortable with my hair. You put
yeah.
me in a room of 400 people in my flannel pajamas and I can work that room, baby. But you,
Yeah, it's
and I'm,
interesting, isn't it? Because I've always
yeah,
been into comfort as well. 28 years in the nail industry, sitting down, I usually have my shoes off, just really comfy clothes. But my sister, probably from the day she was born, has been in very high heels, very corporate, top of the government kind of
yeah,
outfits, speaking in parliament kind of outfits. And she's kind of like that all the time. It's just
wow,
how she feels comfortable. So
yeah.
it's so interesting with different values and yeah.
And it's interesting because I wonder if she feels, not just your sister, but people in general feel add valuable or feel their own value when you take them out and put them into a different thing. Like a lady said to me, can't believe you go to work in jeans. I'm like, oh, I ride a motorcycle, so why would I not? What am I going to do, wear a mini skirt? Hello.
That's right.
But it never occurred to me that other people might think that it was strange that I went to work in jeans. But
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so, but and I've actually said in interviews a long time ago, are you employing me for my fashion, or are you employing me for what I bring to your organization?
I guess it
Um,
depends on the workplace too, right? So if you're
I've
at the
always changed the workplace. I've
but
always changed it.
if you're at the front of the if you're in the front, talking to the public, and there's some certain kind of dress code that the office would expect or whatever, then you have to abide by that. If no one's seeing you, if you're not in a customer based kind of role, then you should be able to just go and do your job. Either way, I mean, I would have loved to have just shown up in my aerobics pants, and not that I do aerobics, but I have the pants, my aerobics pants, and or yoga pants, I should say, and my loose jumper every day just to go. Of course, they wouldn't have employed me because it's not the right image. But that's kind of more rules than changing something from a value point of view, though, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
following the rules.
All right, we've got some questions.
We do.
I've just spotted one a little bit further down, and I'd love to start with this one. So don't think because
Mm-hmm.
we've skipped a couple that we won't come back to, okay? Only because I'm a witch, and Alison Parker has said,
Yes.
this came from my granddaughter, are trees witches sometimes?
Oh, what a great question.
And the fact I'm really hopeful that your granddaughter is like this wee little baby, because if she is, that's even better. So exciting. What a beautiful question. Do you want to go first?
No.
Thank God.
I have no idea. You've got this one. You've got this one.
What I love most about this is trees are obviously all connected, okay, and witches
Yeah.
are connected. It's the whole witch mindset. We don't cackle and ride brooms, although I do have a broom on standby all the time in case my motorcycle breaks down. But trees and witches go hand in hand because of the connectivity with spirit, with earth. The whole. Your pentagram is the five, so you've got your earth, fire, air, and water, and then spirit, and that's how the
Yes.
5 points of your star come together. So the fact that your granddaughter is putting witches and trees together just makes my heart burst, because they're all connected. One is not more important than the other, and it's if we be kind to our environment is kind to us. So the fact that she sees one as both is just, yeah, I can't even stop my face from smiling because it's so exciting. Because
That's kind of back to our topic a few weeks back about remembering. So your granddaughter has come in already knowing these things.
Yeah, and I love that
Good.
because it shows a level of awareness that the younger generation is coming through.
Yeah.
Our generation, we got laughed at for being crazy and conspiracy theorists and tried to be ridiculed, and look at me caring about that whole debacle, whatever.
Yeah.
But
And now.
the younger generation are coming through, and they're picking up things like this, and it's so
And they've got
humbling.
parents, though, that are kind of not shutting them up about it. They've got parents or grandparents who are saying, oh, how fabulous. What a great concept. What a great idea.
Yeah.
Mate, yes, it is true. Or, let's look into it.
Exactly. Not fobbing them off as an imaginary friend and belittling you, actually taking the time to work out that maybe that is actually what you're seeing and what you're communicating with. So yeah.
Absolutely. Great question, Alison. Thank you.
Okay. Now Cherie's come back here.
Sheree,
How
yes.
to connect with her guides.
Okay. Yep. So the way I connect with guides is, I think we all do it individually because we have to tune in to what works for us. If I'm just connecting in with myself, with my guides through meditation or whatever, I will specifically have an intention if I'm meditating, and I'll just say, okay, please help me with this, or please show me this, or whatever, and then I connect that way. When I'm reading for people, sometimes I'll be specific. Other times it's really about getting out of the way. Yeah. It's really about getting out of the way and allowing that flow. So if you can just imagine that a flow of energy, and you get out of your mindset or your mind blocking that, And it's really about trusting those messages, trusting what comes through. I don't hear things specifically like you do, Johnita, but I get the message planted in my head. It's like a telepathic kind of, and it's there. But it took me many years to trust that. And even now, sometimes when they come through, I'm just going, oh, no, please don't make me say that. And then you've got to just trust it, because it may sound crazy to us, but it actually resonates with the person. So that's how I connect with mine. But I know that you do yours a little bit differently. So.
Yeah. So I have, I think what it is, and it might seem like it's a bit crazy because I will, I'll do it now and then they'll start flickering stuff on me. But I actually click my fingers, and that's my on switch. Let's go,
Right.
game on. So now they're going to turn up, but go away now.
And that's a practice thing? I mean, obviously you didn't
That's
just.
ritual. So I just automatically, I thought, okay, I need to switch on and switch off, because I
Yeah.
see them and feel them, and I don't turn off to them
Yeah.
because I just really enjoy their company. I actually feel very comfortable and safe around spirit more than I do humans.
So it's kind of like a trigger to you, just to kind of go, right, we're at work now.
We're at work now. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's no different from making your cup of tea in the morning when you arrive at the office. That's my little let's go. And then I'm finished now. So that the next person will go away now. We're done. I will still talk to them inside my brain while that happens. But I found when I was teaching people about metaphysics is to get into a routine.
Yeah.
And if you make the routine too hard or too much emphasis on the routine, you'll put too much pressure on yourself and you're not in a relaxed state. The whole idea is to be relaxed. Now, I'm super relaxed when I tap into spirit. They don't scare me. I have 100% trust what's going on. So pretty much, no pants, click my fingers, let's go. But if you do have a little routine, and it could be something as simple as putting your hair in a ponytail and sitting down quietly and closing your eyes for a few minutes, or it could be, but if you're consistent with that, it's kind of like how when you train a puppy, you're consistent with your puppy because you want them to go to the toilet where you want them to go to the toilet. You kind of need to do the same thing with spirit until you trust what's going on, because then okay, this is my on switch. So now I need you to absolutely no more mucking around. We're at work now, guys. I need you to tell me exactly what I need to know for the person that I'm reading for. And then when I'm done, I say, thank you, now go away. And so
I guess I do that in a way, because I grab a crystal and just kind of really tune in for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes before I read for someone. So it's kind of the same, I guess, and just triggering my guides to come in. And there will be other days where I absolutely get a message, or I'll get somebody's past relative showing up, or I'll get a feeling about half an hour before I read for someone. And so I take note of that too.
Yeah. It's when they turn up and I go, okay, fairs are the funniest things ever, because you might read for Marie last in the day, okay? But Marie's dead grandmother has been turning up every single reading, and I'm like, is she with you? Is she with you? Is she with you? You can talk to me. I know that you're Greek and I don't speak Greek, but I will understand you. So just tell me who you are. But then they'll keep poking their heads around the corner, or just to always say, is she here? Is she here? So that's but it's a lot. But I have so much fun. I would never turn them away. But it really is about 100% agree with you, trusting what's coming through. And if you set yourself up into a routine, then when you sit down at your desk, you've got your cup of tea, when the phone rings, it's good afternoon or good morning, blah, blah, blah. So you get into that routine and you're trusting what's going on. That's the best way to set yourself up to talk to your guides.
And after a while, you get to know they're all different as well. So, my main guide, which I thought was a guide, is not a guide. It's actually my higher self from, 10th dimension. So I don't class that as a guide. I class that as me talking to me. But then I do have other messages that kind of get implanted into my head that are coming from the ether. And then there's the other ones directly related to the person I'm with. So I kind of, they're all different, and they're all guiding us, but a guide as such, they're all, but you need to just kind of understand the energy. And of course, my mum and dad will show up sometimes, and I just know the energy of that. So you've just got to get practiced with that, and just it's really letting go and relaxing, isn't it? And just tuning in and going, and being curious. I wonder who that is.
Yeah. I always say, show yourself or move along. But it's, it's fun. It's fun because they'll drop into our house all the time, and and the kids. We've got two German shepherds, of course. If you haven't come across me before,
Mm.
and the kids will be, oh, what's that around the corner? And they'll be looking around the corner. I'm like, either show yourself or bugger off. Like you don't mind if you're here. Pull up a chair, but don't be sneaky
Uh,
about it. Come out and say good day. So, a lot about trusting what's going on.
it
Yeah.
is, it is. All right, what else do we have? How to enhance natural abilities. So, Jess, that's a great question as well. And that's really practice and trust. It's practice and trust.
Yep.
And,
Yeah. And
you
have a
know,
play too, because
yeah.
what you might think is your strongest ability is actually not. And a lot of the time people think, oh, I'm an empath. No, you're not an empath. You're actually this, and you're clairsentient, and you can feel things, but that doesn't necessarily mean go part and parcel being an empath. So
Mm,
and quite often, if you think, like there's 8 clairs for an example, and some people only know that they're clairvoyant or clairaudient or claircognizant, and everything else they've got no idea about. So it's about having a
mm,
play with different things and learning. If you're clairsentient, psychometry is the best avenue for you to take, because you will feel the energy in your hot little hand. You'll feel it straight away, and
mm,
that's the easiest way to enhance that natural ability. But it's about
mm.
finding your natural ability first.
And not just doing what you think you need to do. And this is one of the things I used to teach in my meetups, because I get a lot of people exploring their intuitive stuff, and they go, oh, well, I'm never going to be any good at that because I can't do this, this, and this like that person does.
Yeah.
But you've got to find your own way. And here's a really basic example. Like with oracle cards, I don't tend to read the book. I just intuit the meanings. And even with a different tarot deck, I tend to intuit the meanings. I scry into the pictures,
Yeah.
and then I trust whatever message pops in my head. Now, other people do it differently.
Yeah.
They really study all the messages that come with the deck that the person has written, and they stick to that. And there are also tarot readers who are not psychic. There are tarot readers who are not even intuitive. They just know the meaning of the cards and they read your cards.
Yeah.
So, and they that too. They're not trying to be anyone else. So what I always say to people is, do what you do in your way and be okay with it. And just because your intuitive way is different to somebody else's doesn't mean you're not intuitive.
Absolutely, absolutely. A classic
Yeah.
example of this is a good friend of mine over in Georgia, and in the States, and she's very. I mean, that woman is like an encyclopedia of the King James Bible. Now, I don't read the Bible; it doesn't interest me, but we both meet in the middle with the truth of what is actually out there and what is
Mm,
actually going on. So we come at it from two different sides.
yeah.
And I'm extremely intuitive, and I trust absolutely 100% what Spirit says. And she comes from the Bible side of it, and she
Mm,
trusts 100% of what is said. And you know what? We actually in alignment every single time.
it's
We've
funny,
never
isn't
butted
it?
heads. So the truth is the truth. So it doesn't matter how you get at it. And I had another lady said that she went off and did a course with this renowned medium, and he told her that if you don't get a name, then you will you're not doing it properly. And I'm like, what the freaking hell are you talking about, you wacko?
Yes,
A
crazy.
name is a name that is associated with you for this lifetime. It's not even your real name. It's not the name that was given to your soul. It is the name that you used when you walked the earth last time.
It's just that it was just his rules. You see, everybody's
And
got
I'm
their own rules.
exactly. And that,
Yeah.
and just because you don't get a name through doesn't mean that, quite often when I'm dealing with, especially the like the next generation. So the people that have already passed, or the 80 and 90-year-olds that have already passed, and now the next generation is starting to come into that age bracket, so that one above it. I get a lot of those, and they used to go by their middle names, and I'd get their
Yes.
grandkids coming in saying, oh, I want to know if you can tap into my grandfather John. And I'm like, no, I'm getting Barry.
Yeah.
Barry is John's middle name, and everyone called him Barry.
Yeah.
So just trust what comes through, feel your way out. It doesn't matter if stuff's coming through for me and I just can't work it out for the life of me, I'll say, look, it's coming through or jumbled. I'm just going to chuck shit out there and let's see where we go with it. And I've been
Mm,
doing this for a very long time, but I will, if it comes through jumbled or too many of their relatives are talking to me at the same time, I
mm.
will just start spitting it out. And then the person that I'm reading for will go, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. I'll have to check this out. And there's no shame in being honest with what you're
Yeah.
doing.
And
Because
that's with mediumship. Yeah, but it's also the same just with the basic intuitive and basic psychic kind of stuff too.
yeah,
Yeah.
just be honest with the person that you're sitting next to. Just say, and
Mm.
sometimes if you sit down and you start doodling, even if you're not a drawer, but you start, making some lines on the paper or drawing a little square at first, sometimes that's enough to put you into that state of mind that you need to be a lot more relaxed and receptive to the
Yeah.
information that's coming in, however it's coming in. And you never
And
know, it
Jess,
might turn
and
into automatic writing.
it might. And Jess, also tune into your body too, because I always feel things in my body
Yeah.
when I'm reading cards. And you might have noticed, I'll start coughing or I'll get a sore knee or my back will pain. And so I used to just write that off, but now I don't. I notice everything. When I'm reading for someone, I notice everything because it's not my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I notice the bug that flies past. I notice something that falls on the floor. I notice a sound. I notice everything. So
Yeah.
try to just pick up everything that is happening at the time as well, and bring it in. Even if you don't know what it is, just go, oh, that's interesting. My shoulder's hurting.
Exactly.
Do you have a sore shoulder by any chance? Right? Just ask them.
Or you feel like you've got a major booger up your nose, and then you say, "Is something getting up your nose?" And they go, "Yes, it is." I'm like,
Yes,
"Because I've got a massive booger there right now." But then, as soon as you say that to the person, your booger mysteriously disappears.
it does. It just goes as soon
Everything
as
just
you
goes,
recognize it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'll often get, you just get spirit touching or
yeah,
whatever, and itching my nose normally, and it's like, just go away. But as soon as I
yeah.
get the message and it gets out, they're gone. Like,
It's
okay,
like they
thank you.
stand there and flick you in the ear until
I've
you just
got
pay attention.
I've got one up here tonight that is really frustrating me. So just go away. So I hope that's helped, Jess.
All right. Carrie
Okay.
Moore would like to know, when you see spirit, do you see them clearly?
I
I
don't.
do. I do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I just sense that they're there. So I don't see clearly. I just sense that they're there. But having said that, sometimes I can make out, it's like that mediumship. I can make out some of their face. So like there was for instance, a gentleman showed up a half an hour before a client once, and I could just tell it was a real, I I don't know whether I actually saw it or whether, I don't know. It's hard to say. I know you see them, Johnita, as if they're standing right there, but for me, it doesn't feel that way. But I can still make out what their face looks like so that I can describe it to the person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I get the feeling behind the face too. So for this man, it was like he just had a really soft, one of those happy, jolly faces with the red cheeks and the bit of stubble. And it just was enough to describe it to the lady who needed the message.
Yeah.
But no, I've never really actually seen them, and I think we all experience it differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I was it just reminded me of I did some readings on a cruise ship and there was a bunch of psychics this particular night, and one of the ladies turned to me, and there was me standing on this side, and then she was in the middle, and then the dead man on the other side of her, and she turned and faced me and she said, I think I've got someone here. And I said, yes, I know, because he's standing right behind you. And she said, oh, because she had just heard him say, where you'll be right, love. You're okay here, love. So we had permission to be on his boat, but a lot of other people didn't. There were crazy things that happened that night on the cruise ship, but it was interesting because she is also a medium and a very clever medium, but she didn't see him, whereas I looked, and to me,
Yeah.
it's a human being, but you'll completely see through. So I will still see clothing, I'll still see height, see everything about that person, but I can see straight through you. So
Okay.
um,
Hmm.
so I know straight away. And it's just quite funny because if my husband comes around the corner or something, he's a solid match, okay? He will scare the shit out of me way quicker than a
than
dead
the
person
other.
that I can
Isn't
see
that
straight through.
funny?
Because
Isn't
it's
that
just,
funny?
I think it's because
Yeah.
humans can, if you're going to get, I mean, when was the last time we saw a spirit stabbing someone on the 6 o'clock news? They just don't. So the solid
Yeah.
masses scare me and startle me a little bit more than
That's
the
it.
see-through ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, Kerry, it just it depends on you. Yeah. I remember I bought in I was in an intuitive class actually, and we had to sit with someone and bring somebody in. And the partner I was with was working first. And seriously, I had this grandma there, this older lady. I couldn't see her, but I just knew that it was this girl's grandmother. So I
Yeah.
just knew it. And she's just so pushy. She's like, come on, come on, come on, hurry up, it's my turn, it's my turn. And I'm just like, so she wasn't actually there physically for me to see her, but I sensed her. She was right
Yeah.
there.
Gotta let you
And
know.
she was really pushy. And then the girl finished, and I'm like, oh, thank God, because your grandmother is here. She wants to tell you about a ring. And I could see the ring she was describing. So it's interesting how we pick up different things, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's just exactly what we were talking about before. There's no right or wrong way of doing
No.
that. That the other medium picked up the gentleman was standing right there. I could see he was standing right there.
Yeah.
Neither one of us is better than the other. Neither one of us had the right way of doing it or the wrong way of doing it. That's irrelevant. The fact is that this
It's
man got to be picked up by two separate mediums in the same space of time. So that was
yeah.
cool. That's very cool.
So find your own way, Kerry. Yeah. Find your way if that's what you're exploring. And certainly I think if you can start sensing that there is someone there, then just ask questions. And this is what they do in mediumship school. You've got to practice asking questions in your head really fast, like your age and all that kind of stuff. So just be curious. Oh, who is it? What can I feel into this? What can I see? What can I sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, let's
Beautiful.
see. Alison said her granddaughter's 3. Then her older sister, who's 6, going to be a
Oh,
witch when she's bigger. Oh,
no.
little witchlings. How beautiful.
Perfect.
Oh, now the little
All right.
3-year-old has a huge affinity with animals as well. So we're
Ah.
looking for healing properties there. Not vet because she won't enjoy the she won't enjoy the yucky side of being a vet.
Oh,
But she is
interesting.
very clever with animals. Very clever with animals. So there you go. Sorry about that, but they just said that needed to be said. So there you go, Alison.
Cool. I can't even see that comment. I'm just scrolling through and I
Oh,
can't even see. Oh, there, I can see it. There it is. Yeah. Cool. All right. So we're 5 minutes past 7. We'll probably have another
oh,
maybe 10 minutes, Johnita, because you have something on after
I
this.
do. I do. I've always got something on.
So
Uh,
let's
Sarah's saying she's very new to this. I feel like I have always been intuitive in the background, but over the last few months, I have felt I am in need. I'm now in a good place in my life and have been really tuning into my intuition. I'm sensing and noticing things more frequently and having strong urges to surround myself with certain crystals on particular days. Can you suggest how I tackle this? Don't tackle it, baby. Go with it.
go with it. Don't tackle. Tackle
Go
is
with it.
resistance. Tackle is war. Just go with it.
Go with it. Um, but your particular vibration that you have and how you've written that, you're actually open to whatever that comes along. You don't have a particular, I want to be clairaudient, I want to be clairsentient, I want to be clear empathy. You'll take whatever comes along. So it's a very much of an exploring, judging by how you've written that, very
Yeah.
exploring what you want to do. Um,
Mm.
you're wanting to be surrounded by certain crystals on certain days, or that you need oracle or you need tarot or the different urges. They're little messages on how diverse your range of spiritual gifts are. They're
Yeah.
opportunities for you to have a little play and see what feels really comfortable, and it will change from day to day.
Yeah.
So I don't think you've just tapped into your intuitive ability. I think that your intuitive ability has gone, thank fuck, she's finally playing with me. Woohoo! And spirit just confirmed that.
So yeah, so just go with it. I totally agree. So we've got one up here. Let's just see if we can get through a few of them here. So we've got Jess Ainsworth. What would be your advice on things that can support you through change and shifting, etc.? Well, of course, this is the work that Johnita and I do to support people. And, I guess the biggest thing is to work out what's true and what's not true, because you can really just be stuck in something that's not even true. So I always get people to write stuff down and then just ask yourself, is that really true? And really get to, well, what we were talking about before, actually, Johnita, what is the belief about my value in that area?
Yep.
And what's the fear that's there? And is that really true? And the other thing I do, there's many things we both do, but one of the other things I just want to mention is I always, whatever area you're trying to change or shift, if there's some type of fear there, I just try to get you to tune into an area of your life that is working and just really get into that energy, so that you know what it feels like, and then transfer that energy into that other part of your life while you're actually trying to work through it, so that you know the possibilities there. It's about the belief that the possibility. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm.
Do we got we've got a few spirit energy feelers here. Oh, Jess Kumar says that with crystal energy she gets sniffly, spirit to skin crawlies and shadows, and cards at
Ah,
tingly fingers. So that's how she knows.
interesting.
What a complex little bugger you are, Jess. I love that.
All right.
How nice would that be to be halfway through going to the bathroom or having a shower and just getting tingly feelers instead of some man that you've never seen before go, hello, are you busy right now? I would love tingly fingers. No, actually, I'd miss the man and the ladies and the dogs and everything else that comes through. Oh,
Oh dear. Just Lee's just written something here that we might just finish on that. I feel spirit energy and can tell the difference between a good and bad energy and bad energy. Yeah, you're pretty tuned in, Lee, actually. I often miss the good one if it's not as strong. Oh, that's interesting. So I rarely see them unless I'm just waking up unwell, and it's happened to me during pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. I'm not scared of them. So talk a little bit, Johnita, about the good and the bad energy, and whether, why would Lee be seeing one and not the other? And I don't believe in good or bad, to be honest, or positive or negative, stronger energy.
yep, yep,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I have had the absolute pleasure of doing mediumship readings for criminally insane people that have passed, and I've had beautiful interactions with them down at Deadwater in South Australia and in other areas as well.
Mm,
Their energy is not evil or poor or bad, but energy is just energy. So it's your take on it.
yeah,
Sometimes if it's a trigger point for you as a person, like when you're watching a video and it could be a movie about a girl that's getting beaten up by her partner, and you've lived that yourself, and you find that part of the movie really difficult because the energy for you has a negative connotation. Sometimes when we're reading for people and that person was an alcoholic or an abusive person and you lived like that yourself, sometimes you can tap into that, and it feels, because of your own negative emotional experience or own trigger
yeah,
point to it, you tap into that and you identify that that's what the energy is, and you're reading that
yeah,
energy. But spirit themselves, I've read for some I had a man that I did a reading for in Bathurst a little while ago, and he had committed some horrendous crimes as a younger man. And I was reading for him, and he was in his 70s, still alive. And he said to me, I've been a horrible human being. And I said, yes, but what have you done since then? So
yeah,
he was still in that mindset of, I'm going to pass over soon and I've been a horrible human being. He hadn't
yeah,
recognized that, yeah, for 30 years of his life, he was a little bugger. But for the last 40 years, more than 50% of his life, he's actually made up for that. And his
yeah,
energy will be energy. It's not, you're not going to get judged on everything that you've done in your entire life. So
Yeah, I
I've
also
had,
think too, the human personality often comes through too, doesn't it?
yeah, well,
So
they
you
want
get
you to
really
know.
quiet. You get really quiet personalities who just won't speak up, and then you'll get really loud ones. So perhaps the obviously the loud ones have got that stronger energy that'll stand out in the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the
Yeah,
time as well, some people, when they've just passed over, have find it quite exciting that they're back in energy form. So that's when they'll sit at the end of your bed, they'll turn the radio on, they turn TV on, they get quite boisterous in a lot of ways because they've
yeah,
just worked out the energy. They're free from all the human burdens. So
yeah.
the only difference I get with them is if they've just passed over, they seem to be a lighter color for me. If they've been
Okay,
gone for a little while, they get a bit darker. And it's
okay.
not because the darker is evil or that there's something wrong with it. It's because they've actually just picked up more atmospheric shit.
It's an
Because
old, yeah.
their frequency, so more dirt sticks to them. So
It's
the
interesting.
really dark shadows, when I go
Mm.
to century-old grave sites and stuff like that, because I love that sort of stuff. Um, uh, the energy is not a dense energy, but we associate, and society teaches us to associate darkness with evil, and that's not necessarily
Yes,
the
and
case.
negativity, darkness,
Yeah.
negativity, evil. But yeah, no, it's not. It's certainly not that way. No. So awesome.
Yeah, yep. It's also about if you do have trouble with that, or they're trying to get their message across and you're not listening to them, they can become quite vocal as well, in
Yeah.
one way or another. If that's the case, it's really up to you to put some boundaries in place. So when I go and do clearings for people and help them understand what spirit's doing in their house or what you're doing in the spirit's house, 9 times out of 10, and then we set up some boundaries, like you can't go into the kids' room after I put them to bed, or the
Mm.
bathroom is off limits for you guys. So there has to be some rules, and for everyone to live harmoniously, there needs to be some rules. So that's we don't have any rules at our house because whatever. I think every spirit this side of China has seen my bum at some point or another. I just don't care anymore. Who are they going to tell? Seriously, they can't YouTube it. Like, but yeah, I've encountered some really boisterous spirits and some people that have really wanted to get my attention, but at no point have I ever felt that they were not of. They're just louder. You know how you get the loud personalities
Just
and then a bit
louder.
quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but nothing. I've met evil human beings, but not evil
Yeah.
spirits.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, we might leave it there because you need to be in another studio in 10 minutes' time.
I do indeed. Look, thank you very much. I actually really enjoyed this because
Yeah.
it's just lots of different topics. It's true to you. It's not just us choosing something. So we might do this again
Yeah.
like once a month or something. Or
We will do it months and months. So save up your questions. And Jess Ainsworth saying, oh, she's got some questions now. So yeah, just save them all up for next time, guys. And that was fun. And we'll certainly do that again because while we have all the topics that we've chosen, yeah, it's nice to see what you guys are interested in too. So
yeah, absolutely. All right.
perfect. All
So
right.
thanks again for joining us for this episode. Remember, you can join us live on the Facebook page of Guided Life Podcast.
And you can also subscribe to the podcast through Buzzsprout, Apple. We're not on Google yet, but it won't be long. iHeartRadio, Spotify, and many others.
And thank you once again to our sponsor, Holistic Bliss Magazine, and to all of you that are supporting our work. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. We really do appreciate you being here in our live audience and on our listening audience through all of those podcast platforms.
Absolutely.
Well,
Thanks, guys.
we'll see you next week.
Sure will. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.